I've never seen this. I don't know if it's on Netflix, a show where Hitler comes back or something like that. And I wonder if I'd be pissed off because it'd be, again, sending the wrong message about who Hitler was and why his history was shaped that way because of who he was. Because Hitler, just like Trump, is a generic product of his time, right? He reflected, a sick and dying culture. And what did we learn from Hitler? Let's say the cultures of all countries. What did they learn from Hitler? Well, I think they learned if somebody seems a bit off or is not like you better have nuclear weapons and nuke them first. That's pretty much the way you're acting, and that's not what I would, as an Homo sapien, have learned from Hitler. Because you know what I realized today? There's so many more Hitler-type people. And again, when I say this, you visualize like a skinhead guy with tattoos and, white race superior. That's not me. That's your stupid thinking. Again, do you know that at the beginning of Hitler raising his voice, let's say, people thought he was incompetent and said, don't worry about him. Some people might have felt sorry for him because he was incompetent and they didn't know what to do with it, so they just looked the other way. And then but he was persistent in his rhetoric skills, and a rhetoric is convincing people of a point. It's not, you can use it in debate, but you could also be wrong and then be destroyed in debate with rhetoric as your only tool, for example. But debate or critical thinking or reason hasn't been something our species has been pursuing when it seeks the path of least resistance in paradise to acquire more and to live more and more easily and to have more and more power over others, as a way to achieve those things. So Hitler was a generic product of his time because more and more people like this exist today. And we don't see it that way because we dissociated what Hitler really was. Because his message could have been totally different, but his pattern of behaviors is what shaped history. And these patterns of behaviors, we have not learned from them. And more people are like that, these patterns of behaviors, and spend their entire lives like this without getting any more followers than Hitler, except for the poor little babies that they bring into the world. Could be their only followers that they dominate over. But again, it's about the same patterns of seeing how much you can get away with stuff and feeling like you have value, or by taking advantage of others and seeing what you can get away with and not looking at your own self and your own healing or maturation process that you need to go through and how harmful it is. I mean, if Hitler committed suicide, what do you think led to him committing suicide? And there's probably a lot of books about him, but I mean, did he write a diary that he thought nobody would ever see? And then it was found. Because if there wasn't something like that, and believe me, I'm writing a lot of diaries that eventually would be found, and some of it is my posts online, so you really will get to know who I am. And I tell you, you're all kind of Hitlers compared to me, because you're all kind of suffering more and more from the kind of flawed thinking and patterns that Hitler at that time got away with. But now it's kind of the norm to be egocentric like this and to not analyze one's own life and seek, role models or mentors, when in his day there might have been the likelihood of finding some, and today there is almost no possibility, but still the possibility of one's own self, pursuing some sort of personal development. But it's totally out of fashion. It's something, and I'm not talking about going to see a counselor when you're screwed up, which a lot of cultures still kind of shun or make a taboo. No, I'm talking about somebody that's not more screwed up than the norm, but pursuing personal development. We live in a time of history where that's made fun of. So did we learn anything from Hitler other than thinking, oh, when the next war comes, we're going to win? No. Thinking that wars have to come is an example of what you didn't learn at all from Hitler.